I stayed at office after hours, and I found something I was not supposed to see. Enjoy rest of your shift, dude. Sam said. I could sense he had sarcastic grin on his face. Fuck off. I mumbled, not raising eyes from the desk. We had a pool this morning. Whoever gets his number drafted, they are staying for overtime to input data from old paperwork into our digital system. I picked 7, which was my lucky number. At least, I thought. As soon as the 6 p.m. hit, everybody in the office left, leaving me alone to work until God knows when. I understood why I had to do this stupid task. Company was doing bad, like, really bad. Our budget was cut, we have let some people go too. Our manager wanted to appear as he was actually doing something other than scrolling Reddit all day, so he stated that we need to investigate data from the previous years, back when we filled out quotas by hand, and compare it to today's. Manager dropped 2 cases of folders shortly before everybody left. Seeing the size of them made me want to puke. I knew I was in for a long night of manually inputting numbers into Excel spreadsheets. Maybe even 2 nights. I lost track of how many hours had passed, but I logged in and I finished first box relatively quickly. As I started pulling out files from the second box, I felt a bit of hope. I just might finish everything tonight. I closed the folder with September 2007 October 2007 written on it, and I pulled out next one. It said February 2009 March 2009. Are you fucking kidding me? I yelled out loud. I stood in my cubicle to catch breath, and accept defeat. Now I had to go from the 9th floor, all the way down to the basement and find the folder with missing months. I rubbed my strained eyes, and opened them to empty office. I never stayed too long at work, it was uncanny seeing the office at night. Desolate. Overhead lights were shut down in each cubicle except mine, and other than green exit sign, I could only see shimmering glow of downtown visible in the distance, through the wall-high window panels on the opposite side of my cubicle. My building was near by the industrial zone, at the outskirts of the city, and I suddenly realized how alone I am. Perhaps not in the building, but in the radius about a mile, as only thing around it were parking lots and roads. I checked the watch. 10:31 p.m. Come on, focus. Imagine how Sam would tease you if he knew you were scared of being alone at work. I shook at the feeling and went for elevator. Hallway never seemed this long during the day. As I was making way towards the elevator, ceiling's lights kept turning on by the motion sensors, turning off just seconds after I passed them, some of them ominously flickering and buzzing. I stopped. Pitch black corridor seemed to stretch endlessly into the shadow from both sides as I stood under lone beam of light. I looked back, half expecting I would find a silhouette standing in the dark. I shrugged, and kept on walking, increasing my pace. However, I could not stress the creeping feeling that slithered through my spine. A feeling of having someone's eyes on my back. I reached the elevator, which took what it seemed like an eternity to get from the ground floor to 9th. I took my phone to open an Instagram or Reddit to try and distract myself, and I put it back immediately as I had no internet. No service. I nearly started to get concerned about that too, but the elevator came, and I jumped right in, saving myself from the pressing unknown of dark hallway. As elevator was heading down, I debated going straight home in my head, and leaving my stuff in the office. Pulling myself together, I realized how silly I am being. A grown-ass man, being scared of the dark. I should be scared of all the work that might wait for me tomorrow if I didn't finish it tonight. Realizing how much I started sweating from walking quickly, I took up the coat and just threw it on the ground, trying I was catching my breath. I slapped my face a couple of times, pep talking and convincing myself that I am not, well, a coward. It worked well, until the elevator reached the basement and the door opened. Stale smell of mold and rust hit my nostrils, and I realized another dark hallway was waiting for me. I remembered when I was an intern, I used to take some of the folders down here. Our storage was nearly at the end of the tunnel, which luckily was not that long. I didn't bother to pick up the coat, I just wanted to get the files as soon as possible. I walked straight forward, soon reaching near end of the tunnel. As I was about to reach the door I needed, other one grabbed my attention. All the doors in the basement were on the side of the hallway. This one, however, was at the very end of the hallway. It was open. Is anybody else working overtime? What are the chances they are in the basement at the same time I am? Questions raced in my mind. I approached slowly, glimpsing into it. Room was empty, and I could not see what was in it. I could only see another door on the far side, also open. As I approached, I thought I saw hints of blue light around it. Hello? Words left my mouth. I would definitely be the first one to die in horror movie, I thought, getting mad at my survival instincts. Or lack of them. For better or worse, nobody replied, and I got even closer, reaching entrance. I pulled out my phone again, turning on the flashlight. I pointed light towards the room from the threshold, but I could not see anything. Not that the room was empty, I actually could not see anything. As if floor and walls simply non-existent. An abyss. Fear got back in my head with full stride. For some reason, instead of running, I could not resist investigating. I stepped into the room. I half expected to fall through the floor. I didn't. I could feel the floor beneath me, but as I stepped in, my shoes made no sound. I kept walking towards exit, my steps muted, now strangely drawn towards it. At this distance, I realized I was not tweaking. Tiny blue slivers, thin as a strand of hair, occasionally busting out of dark around the doorframe, and disappearing few seconds after. Deep breath, and I stepped into it. As soon my attention was diverted from mysterious blue light, I looked up and saw another hallway, similar to the one I came from when I got out of the elevator. This hallway too had doors on both sides, and I could see what I presumed was elevator, at very end of it. I went towards it. I tried working out the distance of underground in my head. There was no other building nearby beside my company's, and by now, I thought I should be somewhere below a parking lot. At this point, I already forgot that I came down here for few more folders. I was focused on getting at the end of the hallway. As I approached slowly, just several paces away from the elevator, I noticed it was not empty. There was something on the floor. I squinted, my eyes getting close, and after moments of confusion, I figured out what it was. Blood drained from my face. It was my coat. The one that I took off just a few minutes earlier. Fuck this, I thought, and I ran back towards the elevator. My elevator. The one on the other side of this hellbent room. I ran through black room, reaching my elevator in a few moments, frantically hitting the button for the ground floor and for closing the door. I looked over at my coat at the floor. Fuck that too. It can stay here. Almost crying from relief that my pass was still around my neck, I slid it to open the glass door and exit the building, ran to my car, not caring to look back. I don't think I ever drove faster, and I was in safety of my home in less than 15 minutes. I lied awake until morning came. When the fear let its hold of me, another feeling came. Curiosity. I had many theories and ideas about what I might have seen there, but I knew there was only one way to find out. I had to go back.